if we're looking at 7 months of inventory, meaning it'll take 7 months for every single home to be sucked up at the rate that they're going under contract, then that means that buyers have the advantage because homes are moving, right? It's a lot of inventory. So if we go by that, then right now we're teeter-tottering on the neutral. But I would say on paper, once again, I'm a black and white person, we're in a seller's market, but we're very, 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 very close to the neutral market.
What's up, people? We are here today with Stephen Williams, aka Realtor Steph, one of the top producer realtors in Louisiana, and also the lead of S. Williams and Associates under the umbrella of
Keller Williams, realtor.
Keller Williams Realtor. First of all, name some of your accolades.
Oh man,
Bring some of those.
I'll say my first full year in real estate was 2018 or 2019. I was the local Keller Williams Rookie of the Year, so
Okay.
that was a great thing to have happen. After that, I've been pretty much like increasing every year. Like we have a Keller Williams award, so we have like awards that we do. So I've gone to the next level, a couple levels higher every year since I've been in real estate since 2018. I was just recently nominated for to represent the Greater Baton Rouge area for the Top Producers magazine, Real Producers magazine. So I went to got an opportunity to go to Texas with literally it may have been top 40 agents in the country that made it to the top level. Didn't make it.
40 in the country?
Yeah.
How many agents in the whole country?
Oh man, I can't even begin. It's hundreds of thousands. Though. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that, man. So no, great time, man. I've had a good time.
Man, that's big.
Yeah.
Man. Congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna go to the beginning. Okay. So I know the journey. It's like the epitome of becoming a realtor. You sold everything under the sun. Run that journey down. Where did you start in as far as your sales career?
Yeah, so I started with CarMax, selling cars, and then from CarMax, I left CarMax, ended up going to New Balance for shoe sales. In between New Balance, got an opportunity to go to AT&T. So I started with AT&T and did 3 to 4 different positions with AT&T in a 4 to 5 year span.
Lateral moves or moving up?
Moving up. Yeah. So every year, like I was pretty much promoted to something different. Excuse me. And then after that, that's what led into real estate. So pretty much like I went directly from AT&T job in West Virginia, drove to Baton Rouge, got licensed, and then it was pretty much on from there.
So when you who told you about licenses, or did you know another realtor? Did somebody usher you into real estate?
That's a great question. So it's a local realtor out here called by the name of Deontay Thomas, and we was having a conversation. We worked and competed a lot together at CarMax as it pertained to selling cars, and when he was following up with us, I didn't know then what it was, but it was follow up, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of my best friends now, but like literally he was following up, asking about, like how was the family, how did he like West Virginia, what was going on. But we had recently done the application, and he would follow up every month or so. Like we would get a call at that time, and I heard his child in the background. I'm like, man, what you doing? I know we made good money at CarMax, but we ain't had no family time like that. Like what's going on? Like you're not at CarMax no more. You gotta still be making money. You just don't go from there to like something different, because that's a major lifestyle change. So he told me about real estate. We might have had a 45 minute to hour conversation. He told me, man, you can get licensed, here and whatever. I was like, I can't go home. So, man, I researched and I found online where I could actually take the test with a company called Pro Educate. And I took all the licensing stuff, pre-licensing, it was like 100 and whatever hours. And then, man, I told Terry at the time, I'm like, hey, I'm leaving in the morning to drive to Baton Rouge 31 days later. She's like, what? I'm like, I'm going to Baton Rouge to take the test.
Yeah.
And that's everything else is history.
Wow.
It's no physical coursework. I won't say physical coursework. You can go in person. They have Bob Brooks and Burt Baker that's local here. If it's somebody listening from somewhere else, they can go anywhere in their state and actually take the classes, I should say. But the way that I did it, I was in West Virginia, so I had to actually go online. So I used proeducate.com, and they pretty much have most of the states. And I went on, and it was basically like pre-recorded sessions that went over a manual that they gave you. And then from there, it gives you a certificate to then come to the state and actually take the physical test.
Okay, so we come back to Baton Rouge, you take the test. But your wife is still in West Virginia.
Yep.
So after you take the test, do you quit AT&T?
No, I did not do that. What I did do was I was in a pretty successful manager position in West Virginia. And honestly, when I was prepping to take the test, I was preparing my next up boss, letting him know that, hey, this is what's going on. And ultimately from there, I had a real estate connection here in a driving position. And literally, like, I called on my way from West Virginia and did like a phone interview. And by the time I got here, past the test, I had already been accepted in the position for the driving job. Okay. So literally, it was so crazy of a decision. Now that I look back, Tyrrell was still in West Virginia because I didn't know if I was going to pass or fail. So ultimately, during that time, man, they had somebody. We still in the lease and everything. Like, we had somebody that we contacted at the office that was there at the leasing office, and they had somebody that was in like a domestic violence situation that needed somewhere to stay. That called that same morning. Wow. Crazy how God worked. And ultimately, we left every piece of furniture, every single thing. No U-Haul, no nothing. She jumped in her car, drove it back, and that was history. That was it. Wow. Okay, yep. So tell me about that first client. How are we getting clients? Are we calling family members? Are we? How are we getting our first client? Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, I've always been a person to reach out to people that are already doing it and see kind of, what they're doing. And if I listen to enough people, I can kind of compare and contrast and find some similarities and make it work. Yeah, a good median. And ultimately, that's what I did. So first, I still remember I was in the KFC parking lot, I think, in West Virginia area, and I was just pacing as people were answering the phone, making sure, nervous as heck, man. I'm like, man, I don't want to sound stupid. I don't want to, but I'm on the phone still doing it nervous, like we talk about. And ultimately, they gave some good pointers. And one thing that stood out that everybody who we calling? Man, at the time, bro, it was dog. I was really on Facebook. Like, I was looking on Facebook. I don't even know I don't think I had Instagram until after I got licensed. I think I was mainly on Facebook, and I'm just typing in reels. And then as I'm typing in, people. No. At this point, I didn't even know. I'm being honest. I'm looking at the camera and be honest with this one. I did not know what a realtor did. We didn't own a house. Like, we literally, like, if somebody would ask me at that time, like, what's the 5 duties of an agent, I would have been like, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out. Like, that's where it was. So major move now that I look at it, coming from a corporate job like AT&T and then looking and saying you're going to stop everything and creating, invest in yourself and push yourself to something. But yeah, I definitely had to bet on myself in that moment. I felt like I was in the corner. I was like, man, it got to be something better than what I knew. That's it. Yeah. That's it. So we back to that first client. You say you were calling around, getting that advice from random realtors, just hungry, gritty with it. Yeah. So they one consistent was it's a contact sport. So I'm like, what does that mean? I asked everybody that it's pretty much like the person that contacts the most people has the best opportunity to actually find a client, close a client, and work with a lot of clients. And that stuck with me, man. It stuck with me throughout my whole career. So ultimately, I went to my contact list and I'm like, okay, I'm going to call every person in the phone. And literally, like, I called every single contact that was inside of the phone. And it might have been, man, over 800, 900 some calls, man. And ultimately, I had one past coworker that had just, like, it's crazy talking about this. They had just fired their agent. Like, literally, like, hours before I was calling. Wow. She was like, dang, Stephanie, you called at the right time. Did you talk to somebody? I was like, no, I didn't talk to anybody. She's like, I just fired my realtor today. So, yeah, I got a house that I'm interested in. I already know what I want. Man, I drove in, took the test the next morning. I was showing her a house. Wow. Yep. And she bought that house. That we don't have to get. She only went to one house. It was a condo right off Florida Boulevard, man. Yeah. Wow. True story. I want to skip the part where you said about the calling, about the 800 calls. So one common theme in venture capital, and especially like in Silicon Valley, they say if we throw out 1,000 and we fund 1,000 things, we just want 2 to hit. Yeah. So if you don't throw your rod out there, It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
You can't get 10 and say I didn't get 10 and I failed.
It's not gonna happen.
So that's a common theme in sales from
Yeah.
venture capital all the way to real estate.
Yeah, and man, and when I go back to AT&T, like I was that person, and I'm sure some people are gonna watch from AT&T when I worked there. I started at Town Center, but then I moved over to Cartana. That was my main store. Literally, my goal was to take as many people's hands I could shake, introduce myself, and smile and talk to. That was the better my chances were with walking away with what I need to walk away from my family by helping somebody else's family to save money. And that's pretty much the same concept that I took into real estate. It was just not about the sale, but more or less it changing from, yo, Steph, well, I got a problem with my phone. Yo, Steph, I got something wrong with my car. To now, when people introduce me, it's like, hey, this my realtor, Steph. And I was focused more on changing that introduction than I was selling the house. Wow. And naturally, the house just kind of, the house sales came in, but ultimately, I didn't own a house at that time. Like, we wasn't pre-approved. You want me to be honest? Y'all don't know my credit score during that time either. So it's like, at that point, that was my goal, though. It was like when somebody introduces me to someone else, I would listen. And if they say, yeah, you don't work at AT&T anymore, I'm like, I got more work to do. I got more work to do. Yeah.
My identity needs to be this.
Yeah.
My identity needs to be this. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got our first person we got in the house. Is the next house a referral, or is the next house back to the grind?
Referral, man. I got a funny story. Well, funny stories, I'll say. Man, a lot of my very first clients, as hard as I hustled and tried to go out door to door, people I didn't know, it most of the time came from somebody I knew. So literally at that time, and it's a local spot, you might laugh, but it was in zone. Okay. At the time. And man, I got a really good buddy of ours that we would go out, and at the end of the night, he like, man, when y'all don't see Steph inside of here, that means he's sending over somebody's application to like actually apply for a house. He writing up a contract or he negotiating a contract, and man, it would be 8, 9 o'clock at night. And literally like every single morning when we would wake up from going out there that following night, I at least probably had 5 or 6 people do applications throughout that time. And like that was because at that time, 34, I mean, I was 27 at that time. So I had to meet people where they were. I mean, so that's where everybody was at that time. I was, 9 years removed out of high school. So everybody was still hanging out, partying, having a good time. So people would naturally bump into me and say, oh, man, you've been selling the houses. And that's a great opportunity to start a conversation.
See, in the end zone, wipe your face. Hold on.
But no, it came from a referral. Mm-hmm. It came from Philip Johnson, who was just on your podcast. And ultimately, it was a crazy, mistake that happened with him thinking somebody was supposed to cut his grass that thought they was at the right house. And boom, it's once again God. They collided, and the guy somehow Philip asked him about real estate, and the guy actually said they had just finished the first time home buyers course that they had done that was offered in the city at that time, and they were looking for a realtor. And he called me. Yeah.
Wow. So man, we're gonna talk about faith.
Definitely. Yes.
Stuff was just falling in place for you. But you were taking the steps. Yeah. You weren't sitting back waiting on it. Yeah. You were taking, like, Taylor, I'm going to Baton Rouge in the morning to take the test, step in our own faith. Yeah. We'll talk about faith later. That'll be a whole
it's a lot of faith in there because y'all, I ain't had nowhere to stay. She ain't had nowhere to stay. Luckily, April wasn't here yet, but it was just betting on myself, man, and understanding like that if it's about effort, then I could change that. Like I can actually provide as much effort as I can exert myself to do if it's gonna get me to a certain goal.
That's it. Yep. So we're getting clients for the buy. Do we start selling at any point? And what's the difference between being a buyer's agent and a seller's agent? Love it. So you learn a lot with Keller Williams, man. Shout out to them for sure, because everywhere I looked on YouTube with making a decision, it was like, this is a great place to learn. And what I found is I tell people something different. It's a great place for business owners or aspiring business owners. Somebody just wants to sell houses. I think that, we can argue a lot of different things, but when it comes to building a business, that's the biggest thing. And I mean, the first thing that they tell you when you come into the business is you benefit from being a business owner many more ways with listing houses and putting signs in the yards than you do
with buyers. And the reason being, I mean, you put a sign in the yard, you're getting a call from a sign in the yard because somebody's probably driving by, a neighbor has said, hey, they got a sign in the yard, here's a number, they've taken a picture of it, they sent a text message, right? That's one way. I mean, the other way is, and a lot of people may not know this, but the listing side, like the seller, the person that's representing the seller negotiates majority of the time the buyer's agent compensation and their own compensation. Okay. So yeah, so ultimately, if you were a buyer's agent and I was a listing agent, you would come to me, and now it's a little bit different. You could negotiate it, but ultimately, I would have already prepared, set the expectations for the sellers, and they would have already chose what they wanted to pay you from my negotiation. So you control, you know, the negotiation in a sense on that side. And I mean, the major part of it is that like the advertising piece. I mean, so you're in front of every single person that's going on, and that person is going to buy another home. So think about it. You got advertisement and marketing, you got the negotiation aspect of it, and then the third one is every seller normally at some point will buy again. Now you have someone else, but it's a better opportunity on that side.
Where are you getting them? So where you get the money for the advertising? Is this coming from our already was the buyer's agent and I'm gaining capital, or does Keller Williams upfront you for advertisement? Or
no, indeed.
You're a partner, because I know advertisement, man. We look at these things, man. It's not cheap.
Yeah. So I'll say this. Keller Williams is a brokerage like every other brokerage, and it's an independent model. What that means is you come put your license with them, and when it comes to compliance things, and when it comes to some accountability as far as like the legality standpoint of it, that's great. But as far as it comes to procuring leads, and they don't give leads, they don't pay anything out of pocket, we actually pay them a split on that side, you know, for their brand. It's a global brand. Right. So ultimately, you have something called a cap. So when you get to a certain point, you stop paying them for the year. But until that point, you pay them actually. So when it comes down to a marketing budget, ultimately it is what you said. Like a lot of people start off with buyers like I did, and then over time those buyers become sellers. So kind of the benefit that we just talked about, right? That person, you buy your first home with me, I'm a majority of buyer's agent. You come back, normally most first time home buyers, 3 to 5 years, they coming back and they sell. Yeah. So at that point, you come back, you say, hey Steph, I want to actually list my house, and you know, we want to move to X, Y, and Z. Where at that point, I've sold you your first home. Now the family has grown, a promotion has come up, like, you know, all the changes in life that go on. And now I'm putting a sign in your yard, and then we're going to shop for another house. And then potentially I could bring a buyer to your house that I have listed, represent both of y'all, and sell y'all another house. That's the benefits of, but it happened in an organic way. It really did. Honestly, it happened where all of my people that I was closing before when I was 27, as I expanded in my career, they expanded in their careers. So they got job opportunities other places, like they got promotions in other areas, and as they made more money, they wanted nicer things, and I was there to kind of give them the knowledge that they need.
Do that. Yep. Nice. So were you doing buying and selling at the same time at one point? Did you have?
Yeah. So that's certainly a thing. Okay. I would say this year I'm probably more like 70-30, like 70% sellers, 30% buyers.
You on the seller side now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so so you're putting in the leg work.
Yeah.
So let's talk about building a team.
Yeah.
Right. So what does that process? What does that even mean when you say I have a team under the Keller Williams umbrella? Yeah. What does that mean?
So ultimately, when somebody gets licensed, they're coming in and they are doing exactly what I did. And a lot of people they're not used to a system where they don't learn. And a lot of people are not comfortable explaining a contract that they don't know. Like, and I'll give an example, like Deontay Thomas, who actually talked to me first about real estate and encouraged me to get into it. Like, man, I can remember my first few transactions. I'm on the phone with a client, and they asking about the contract, like, hey, on line 68, you know, I got this question, that question. I'm like, hold on, I can't really hear you. Like, I'm losing service. I'm clicking over. I'm like, hey, Deontay, it might be 10 o'clock at night, man. I'm like, bro, Please forgive me. What look, what does line 68 mean? Like I see it, but I'm not. He like, oh, is this? I'm like, hold on, man. Please don't hang up. I click back over. I'm like, oh, okay, I got to a better spot. Look at me, X, Y, and Z. You know. So yeah, I can definitely remember that. So a lot of people, man, they don't want to deal with it. Like they don't want to have a transaction and make a multitude. You will always mess up, but they don't want to like get in being that uncomfortable to not know what it is. So when starting a team, you kind of give people an opportunity to just plug and play. Like they can go into a system that's already there. They can go into like leads that are already there. So we take care of leads. We take care of a minimal amount of branding now. We kind of leave that to them. We take care of, we give a packet, but it's probably over 50, 60 things that we give overall, including coaching, so that they have somebody who they can kind of handhold with throughout the process.
And all the splits kind of different. You ain't got to talk numbers.
Yeah.
Splits different as a lead. So a realtor comes in, you usher them through the process. Yes. Of course, you have to get your split out the whole ordeal. How does that work?
Yeah. So ultimately, the broker still has to get paid. Keller Williams, fortunately enough, they really are a pro-like team. So ultimately, if a split is, I'm just giving an example, typically $20,000, then they'll give a team agent a $10,000 split. So it's kind of cut in half because typically, generally speaking, most teams, like it's around a 50-50 split. Maybe some higher, some less, depending on experience. But ultimately, that's how a team leader or a rainmaker like me gets paid, is by them actually closing the transaction. So let's say you're an agent, you say, hey, Steph, I want to be an agent. You close the deal. It's $200,000 deal, 2.5% commission. That's $5,000. Okay. You'll take that check, give it to Keller Williams. At that point, they're going to cut it in half. The team will get $2,500. Then you would start at $25 before you pay them. And then once you pay them a certain amount, you'll stop paying them for the fiscal year and you get the remainder.
Okay. So what you got?
So the half, the 50-50. So the 2,500 would first go to the team, and then the other 2,500 would be split with them.
Oh, the team. When you said you, I thought you talking about me. No,
well, still saying it's 25-25. It's 50-50. But then with the brokerage, let's just give an example.
But I'm saying I'm the realtor, right?
Right.
You usher me through the process.
Right.
We do the 5,000, 50-50 split, Keller Williams, or whatever brokerage, get their money. Our team gets to 25. What do I get?
You get what's remaining after you give it to Keller Williams.
Okay.
So if you pitch a 2,500. So that's what I said. The first thing that will happen is the team will get 2,500.
Yeah, no.
You saying me as a person? Oh, you as a person?
Yeah. So I'm with the team.
Roughly, you probably would get around probably somewhere around 18 to 1,900. So I mean, to do the math, it's about 79%. Yeah, they normally do about I think it's a 15% split on one side, and it's like 7% split or something on the other side. So it's 79% is the total. So Keller Williams would get 21% total until they gave up to that $10,000, and then that whole 2,500 will come to you as an agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm a realtor, if I'm coming in, it sounds like a team. If I don't know anything about real estate, it sounds like a team is the way to go.
Yeah. I think it just really depends, man. Like for me, I do agree with that, but then you have some people that are more, they are okay with the sacrifices. So now, one, it's a big thing. It's values at the end of the day. That's a big conversation for a lot of people to look at half their money. So you have to kind of start with the business conversation, right? So I know walking in when I came there, I didn't really understand it. So I have to understand that most agents won't. So when we look at any business model, restaurant industry, probably somewhere between 8 to 12% of profit margin, right? Meaning, ladies and gentlemen, they may make 8 to 12 cents every time they receive a dollar, right? So ultimately, if we look at 50-50 or even taking the 79% into account, you're still doing way better than a restaurant would do, at that point, because you don't have to worry about leads. A lot of stuff you don't have to worry about with training, coaching, all that good stuff. So I think that it's a great investment for a long-term thinker. I always tell people that somebody that's saying, hey, in 10 years, I'm going to still be in real estate. 20 years, I'm going to still be in real estate. I think it's a smart investment because ultimately they know that they need to get in front of as many people as possible. And if somebody else is paying to do that, then it's no price tag you could put on that. If somebody's introducing me into a world and giving me the things that I need to succeed, then that's you can't put a price on it.
That's how I go win. So does your role change as a lead? So you're a realtor, you boots on the ground. That's how you came about the gate. How many people you have on your team?
So right now we downsized a lot. We have a total of 4 agents right now.
Okay, so with 4 agents on your team, what's your role? Are you like sit back down like, hey, man, make the deal, get the deal.
So I say this, man, with that team model, as I explained, 50%, and this is me being real, 50% is not gonna be enough for a certain lifestyle. For at the end of the day, that 2,500 seems like a lot until we talk about salaries, until we talk about expenses, we talk about taxes, all of those things. I mean, realistically, you taking 50% is not gonna be enough for you to actually get the, like I would say, for us and my lifestyle, it just don't happen. So I still got another point. Yeah, I still gotta work, man. So at the end of the day, I went that route before, and it's just difficult because every 2 transactions would equal 1 amount that I would make. So I can go out and sell 60 houses, but I would need to make that same amount of money roughly. I would need agents to do 120 deals. And most agents don't get into the business wanting to work the way that they would need to work for all of them to add to 120. Most people are okay with these days around 50 to 75,000. They're not looking to go to $300,000. So at that point, I still have to do what I need to do. So I still lead gen, I still work buyers, I still work sellers. Now, some of my buyers that are not like SOI or personal people I know.
What's SOI? You got to talk.
Here we go. That's my fault. Sphere of influence.
Okay.
Sphere of influence. So ultimately, that's family, friends, coworkers, people that when you call, they'll say, "Yo, what's up, Keith?" And like people that know you already, they know, like, and trust you already.
Okay.
Yep.
So we got the team built.
Yep.
We're on the seller side and we're on the buyer side. All right, so I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. Cause when you see my boy, he's sweat. But the thing is, that's always been you. Even when we had limited resources, whatever you was on. But now I ain't counting your pockets, but you got it. So is the way you dress and present yourself, how important is that as a realtor? And I'm not talking about when you're going to make a transaction. I'm talking about on a daily, right? Yeah. So when we see you, you always fresh. Is that intentional marketing? Or is that from the car you drive? All of that. Is that intentional marketing or that's just you in general?
So I say 50-50. One thing that I learned really, really quick in real estate is that the people are buying from a person. So at the end of the day, I laugh at people. I'm like, we not doctors. I don't want to be a doctor. Used to thought I wanted to be one back in the day. But I do not want to be a doctor. I don't want to be in any industry that's life or death, right? For a reason, because I don't want emergency calls. So the great thing about real estate, nothing is an emergency. So I treat transactions like that. One of our good friends has told me before, he's like, man, you know the reason why we use you? I'm like, why? He's like, man, we can go out, have a great time, but then if we're in a transaction the next morning, when you call us, you're not gonna be like, what up, bro? Or what, you're gonna be professional, knowledgeable, talk to us the same way, and then you can do both. And ultimately, I started recognizing and hearing that a lot. And no, so I'll say 50-50 on it. Like, I love real estate because I can be who I am. So, I mean, my dad was a guy that was like, he kept his car clean. Yeah. Like, he was gonna have them long creases on it. Back in the day, that was what it was. So I feel like a lot of that came from my dad on their side, but at the same time, I feel like I kind of fell in love with fashion like earlier on with like the styles of the bow tie and the scarf and stuff like this. So no, man, I think it's a great way presentation wise to meet people as well though. I can't tell you how many times in the beginning of my career, and I'll just be honest, dressing like this was very different. Like at the beginning of my career, if you look at clothing pictures that's in the area, people had almost to have on suits. Like, especially guys that look like me, like African American males, like they had on suits. And now it's getting to a point where people are more relaxed as they grow in their career and people know their knowledge. Then they're able to get more and more and more into who they are every single day. And I think that's more where I'm at with it. So I would say 50-50 to answer your question.
That's it, man, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm the type of person, if I believe in giving people chances, I gotta tell you the story. Because if you kind of tore down
It changes.
I'm gonna look at it. I ain't got nobody to lie to. I'm gonna look at it, but I understand that people have to start somewhere. But yeah, if I know your story and you have the means and then you step next to realtor step, I'm choosing realtor. So I appreciate that. I'm choosing realtor step.
But man, I think it's levels too. Because when I didn't know, it's almost like people say you have to fake it until you make it. I'm kind of switching it a little bit, but when you don't know, it's almost one of those things where everything that you can control, you should control.
You should control.
That was my thing. I'm like, hey, everybody else may be to a level where they just rushing, they in gym clothes at the beginning of my career and they go meet somebody, but it might be this one suit that I put on and may change their perspective and take me more seriously and give me an opportunity. And after you get so many opportunities, people grow to know who you are. Yes, and once it becomes more about professional referrals, it don't really matter what you show up being in because now you have something to offer that other people don't. And that was always my thing, like local economists of choice. Meaning I'm gonna study data, I'm gonna study knowledge, like so it don't matter if I come in with gym shorts on now and a t-shirt in my I wouldn't do that. But in my mind, if I did, it's something in that conversation that's gonna make them say, man, we was kind of looking at him at first. But man, he told us some stuff we didn't know. And that's my goal with every single person I meet in real estate.
And that's one thing about you, bro. If the one thing when I've talked, I know a lot of people that bought houses from you, and the one thing that they're gonna say is, and I quote, Steph knows his stuff. That dude knows his stuff. Any question on the spot, I'm gonna go look for it. Yeah. No, he knows it, and that's about the specifics of certain houses that he's showing, or that's a real estate in general. So what are we studying? Is this experience? Are you going online and look up stuff? Are you reading books?
Yeah.
Where do we get this knowledge from? And are you a data guy? Numbers guy?
I'm definitely a numbers guy. I tell people when I first meet them, I'm like, if you talk to my wife, she gonna give you all the personality because she, of course, she helps out the team. So she's our executive assistant. She does all of our back end stuff, all of that. And ultimately, people will tell me all the time, they like, see, when I be needing them numbers, I come to you. But when I be just need somebody that's personable and this not gonna help, I'm like, yes. So ultimately, I am a numbers guy. I'm a data driven guy. And for me, I will find myself watching CNN. I'll research online and go to different stuff pertaining to the global stuff that's happening, like the housing crisis, when a lot of things happened with that in the past, like stock market stuff, just a lot of stuff to educate myself because the one thing that I recognize reading books for sure, the one thing that I recognize is you kind of have to become who you want to work with first. So at the end of the day, the first thing I ask agents when they come in is like, who do you want to work with? And most people don't know. And then their homework is to figure that out. And then it's where are those people at? What do they do? What are their interests? And it has to be the same exact thing. So for me, when you were shocked kind of about moving to the listing side, I think that happened because a lot of the places that I go now, a lot of people I talk to, they tell them like, hey, he has another level of knowledge that you will need at this price point. So to answer that question earlier, like my price point has grown because at a little time I couldn't imagine listing a near $1 million house or over $1 million home. And now that's naturally happening because people already trust me when it comes to knowledge and information.
That's it, man. And that ushers into the next kind of segment. Now I'm coming in on the customer side. So I'm gonna ask questions in a scenario form.
Love it.
So I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. I have a friend bought a house from you. Yep. I'm like, man, I'm ready to move out of the apartment. I'm paying about $1,500 for my apartment every month. I don't know how many bedrooms that is, but I'm like, man, I need a realtor. They say call Steph, man. He's good realtor, man. Yep. Good dude. I'm nervous. I don't know. I know you have to have a credit score and a certain amount of money, but I don't know what that is. So ring. I call Steph. Hey, man, my name Willie Blue. That's all I have. My name Willie Blue. My credit score is 670. No, I'm gonna go down. 650.
Okay.
But I make $72,000 a year, man. I'm trying to get in a house, preferably 3-bedroom. I don't know nothing about this process, man. What can we do?
Yeah. You want me to go from there?
Yeah.
Okay. I say, hey, Mr. Willie Blue, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Well, it sounds like I'm doing pretty good, man. It sounds like you definitely have gotten to the right place. Tell me who you spoke with to actually refer you over to.
Charles Green.
Come on, Mr. Charles. Come on. You ain't got to say that when you say Charles Green, man. You ain't got to worry about it. So look, if I'm hearing you correctly, you've been referred by Mr. Charlie. I know he good people, and you actually want to, find a real estate agent. Tell me what interests you in the actual process. Like what made you go to or talk to Mr. Charlie about purchasing a home?
Well, I know he bought a house from me about 6 months ago. And I'm living in an apartment, man, and I'm just tired of like parking and walking up the stairs and things like that. And I keep hearing that my parents keep telling me to buy a house because for the $1,500 I'm paying for the apartment, if I gotta pay 15 or two for a house, I might as well do that. I want a backyard, man. I just had a daughter, so I want a backyard. I want a garage. I just want something for myself. They say that real estate equals, some form of wealth.
Yeah.
I don't know about none of that, but yeah, I just want a place for myself, bro.
I love that, man. First off, congratulations, kudos to you, man. I heard you talk about your daughter. That's absolutely amazing. I think that's the most important thing is when we talk about breaking generational curses. That's the way we do it is by being informed. So tell me this on a scale of 1 to 10, Mr. Willie, like how knowledgeable are you? I know you said you don't know much, but I want to know where on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being super knowledgeable, how much do you think you know about the process? 1 to 10.
Oh, nothing. I just know you have to. Probably a two, man. I know you have to have a credit score. Some people say high. Some people say it had to be mid range and make some money. I think 72,000 kind of decent. So that's all I know.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Well, look, that works. So it sounds like that may be a lower number, 1 to 10. Like you thinking that?
Like a two.
Okay. So tell me this main question: how important is it for us to get it as close to a 10 as possible?
On my knowledge?
Yeah, as far as the knowledge of the process.
10.
There we go. So, hey, Mr. Whitley, that's all that matters. I sit down with people every single day, and the only difference between the person that ultimately buys and the person that doesn't is a person that doesn't want that 2 or 1 to go to as close to the 10 as possible. Okay. So ultimately, I appreciate you for reaching out. Our next step of this process is us getting face to face and us working as hard as we can to go from that 2 to that 10, because ultimately, from that aspect of it, we'll get you closer to you feeling confident about purchasing a home. And once you feel comfortable, you will automatically move forward with the process and be educated on why you should do it.
Wow. I ain't seen it. First of all, the man just gave you a script. So if you got a script, you should it's a record. Write that down because that absolutely wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So when I hear realtor, I'm thinking when I get on the phone, you gonna say, all right, well, let me put you with somebody that get your credit score. Let's talk some numbers. We get on the computer. That's how. Nah. Said nothing about that.
No.
You made sure that I was comfortable in the process and that I'll be knowledgeable enough to be confident at the end of this process to know 100% that I want to buy a house.
I'm gonna tell you why, man. Experience is the best teacher, right? And I can't tell you how many agents and myself have gone through so much agony because of assumptions. Mm-hmm. So before I assume that you're ready to purchase a home and ready to go right now, we'll schedule an appointment. If you show up to that appointment on time, if you show up to, I always tell people we're interviewing each other. So if you show up to that appointment on time, you there early, you ready to rock and roll, you got questions, you got stuff that's going on. That's kind of telling me as an agent, okay, this person is really taking the process serious, because it may be 10 people that I'm meeting with that day, and everybody is important. But if I have a person that misses the appointment 3 times, they probably would have never ever done the application. So ultimately, I want to make sure that they're knowledgeable about the process so that then they come to me again and again and again with more information versus me chasing them. You can't chase somebody most of the time to sell them something that's genuinely the right thing for them to buy. Mm-hmm. Wow. It don't work that way. Apple didn't do advertisement and say, hey, we have this on sale. You will never see that. Mm-hmm. You won't see any luxury cars. You won't see none of that advertised, because at the end of the day, they already know their value, and the people that will buy will buy. So it's all about them being educated. Once they're educated, they gonna want to make the right decision. It won't be you pushing.
Does that conversation change if my credit score is high and I have more money?
No, actually, man, what's crazy is that I have a client that's closing this year. I won't say a time, but they're closing this year. And literally, we started talking 5 years ago about purchasing a house. The conversation started that same way. They walked in, they had to come because the thing is, I got a way bigger vision, man. So for me, when I was walking around talking to people and introducing people, and my number one goal was just for people to introduce me as a realtor, that all started with effective, good conversation and me having a big picture brain set. Mindset, meaning if I talk to you and you have, let's say you got a 300 credit score, you still go to work, you still work out at the gym, you still go to church, you still have family members, you still have friends. So the small-minded person will be like, oh man, this man got bad credit. I ain't about to talk to them. But the other side of the business entrepreneurial spirit tells me you're about to meet at least 1,000 people within probably, you're going to come in contact with at least 1,000 people within the next 48 to 72 hours.
Big scheme of that.
So I can't tell you how many people last year for our client appreciation, we gave away an award to somebody with being our stellar referral person, and they've never purchased from him.
Wow.
He gave last year, I want to say he gave maybe 8 people that purchased. One person referred 8 people that purchased, meaning he probably referred 50, and he personally himself has never purchased with SWA.
Wow.
So that's the big thing. Is like it doesn't matter about if somebody can purchase. It's about you giving the information. So when they walk away, they say what you say. People say, "Man, I wouldn't even rate it." Steph told me everything. Man, you definitely got to go to him. All your stuff in line.
That's it.
I get that so often.
That's the business mindset. And one place they'll teach that at school.
No, you're not getting that in there. You're not getting that in there.
They don't teach that in school. All right, so I'm gonna switch the scenario. All right,
Okay.
my name, I'm gonna give a better name. Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
I like this song.
Come on.
Sam Smith. All right, I'm Sam Smith. I've had ring. We're gonna
Okay.
ring. How you doing, Mr. Stephen Williams?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I got your number, man, off an advertisement.
Okay.
I'm down here in Zachary. I have a property, 6,000 square feet, 4-bedroom, 3.5 baths.
Okay.
It's sitting on 2 acres of land.
Okay.
And I'm trying to sell. Man, I had an agent, but I feel like I kind of ushered myself through the buying process, and I didn't want to go with them through the selling process. So I'm looking for another agent. And man, it must be God's will, because I seen your advertisement on the road. Then you popped up as a sponsor advertisement on my social media feed. So man, I'm giving you a call.
There we go. Well, look, man, I definitely appreciate you reaching out to me. I think that's important. It lets us know we're doing the right thing. So tell me this biggest question: what's actually motivating you to sell, and like how soon would you say you would want your home to be sold?
I took a job out in near Prairieville way, and I don't want to take that commute.
Okay.
So, yeah, man, I don't want to live out here anymore. I want to take that commute, so I take the chance of moving and having neighbors if I can't find land out there. But just that commute, and I want to sell. Man, I started the job, so by at least the end of the first quarter.
Okay.
So it's December right now, so at least by March, April.
Okay.
I want to get out of there.
Okay. So let me ask you this: will you be interviewing any other agents, or are you just planning on reaching out to me, or tell me more about that aspect?
So realistically, man, you're the first agent I called, but I will shop around. I do plan to shop around. Yeah,
you should. So tell me this: when you're shopping around and looking at agents and looking at the process, what's most important to you? Give me 2 things that are most important to you.
Communication for one.
Okay.
Communicating how this process works.
Okay.
I don't know much about comps and all that stuff. I know I bought the house for 1.5.
Okay.
1.5 million. But so the communication in the whole process, and just I want to feel like my best interest. I want to get the best bang for my buck for that property. Okay.
That definitely works. Well, look, once again, I appreciate you reaching out to talk to me. I personally, I might be biased, but I personally feel like you made the best call that possible, right? In Greater Baton Rouge area. I normally meet in person, face to face inside of your home, take you through a tour of the home. You take me through a tour of your home, and we'll both walk it together. And then at that point, I'll kind of fill you up with a good amount of knowledge. Tell me this: are you aware of the homes that are sold around your area, and do you have an idea of pricing?
Man, the people in my area, they pretty much been established. So I came in, I bought that. Actually, my dad bought the lot.
Yeah.
Years ago, about 10 years ago, man. And I just decided to put a house on there a couple years ago. Uh, yeah. So I don't know anything about like comps and all.
Okay.
And people there are pretty much established. The only thing that sold are like the neighborhoods down the street, and they're much smaller, and they going in like the 400,000 range.
Okay. No, but look, that definitely works. Well, look, boy, what I'll meet you with, I'll do you a few different favors, right? Not really a favor, but that's just a nice word to use, right? I'll show up showing you more about comp, so you know more about that. We'll talk more about your specific area and what's happened there. And then finally, you have a comprehensive guide on exactly what we do differently than others to actually get your home sold at the best price in the fastest time. And then we'll work together to kind of see what things we need to actually get done to make sure that your home stands out amongst others. So in the meantime, I'll have a few people reach out to you just to ask a few different questions, more of a questionnaire, so that I know more about you. And then I want to ask you one final question. What's normally a good time? Like what time today would actually work for us to meet?
What's today? Monday. Um, and to meet in person.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man, I can meet you in the next hour.
Okay,
that's possible.
Well, look, that'll definitely work. So I want to make sure I get your address, and we'll go through that. So one thing I want you to know is much longer. Like I had to find a way to expedite because normally on those calls, as long as we can stay on the phone, we will because ultimately we got a whole like I have like a 3-page list of questions to ask because we want to make sure when we meet that that's a little bit different because we have to meet inside of their home at that point. So we want to make sure we're meeting with somebody that's a legit person. So we look up background checks. There's a lot of stuff that we do at that point. But we also want to know what's the motivation. Do you have an idea of price? Because if you think in 1.5, I picked that up from the conversation. In the beginning, my brain wouldn't have went directly to 1.5. It might have went directly to 1.2. So if you're saying 1.5, if I pull comps and I'm at 1.2, I know that this is not going to be an easy conversation versus if I never got that and I said, oh, we got, man, I was shocked at 1.2 and you looking at me like, dude, nah, you can get out of my face. You know, so you want to ask questions on, you know, when are you looking to make a decision? What's most important? You talked about communication. So my comprehensive guide is going to highlight the pages that talk about communication and what we do differently than others versus just filling him up with 15, 30 different things and not knowing what his most important things are. Okay. And does that conversation change with price range up or down? What you mean? So does that conversation pretty much stay consistent? You still going through that process if I'm selling a $5 million house? Yeah. And if I'm selling a $400,000? Yeah. Same process. Yeah. I mean, this year I've listed a house as low as what, $12,000, $8,000, like land and lots and small dilapidated homes, and we've listed and sold homes over $1 million. So I mean, ultimately, it not man that doesn't change for me. Once again, long term. Like he talked about him calling me in that example from a sign call, right? So it doesn't matter where that house is. If more people are seeing the sign, seeing the number, recognizing the name, then when the time does come, I just want people before somebody finishes real estate to say realtor still. Mm-hmm. And if they do that, it doesn't matter what, size of a deal that comes in. It's just it's a different game, man. Now when you get to a certain place in your career, you talk more about like mind share than you do like profit and all the other stuff. If the whole area, the parish of East Baton Rouge, every single person we could guarantee knew your name for anything, you don't have to worry about profit and money is coming because everybody know who you are and what you stand for and your integrity. And that's all that matters. God. This is my question. Yeah. Do a lot of realtors invest? Like y'all have the game, y'all have the knowledge, y'all have the MLS, y'all have the ones that don't hit the market. Boy, it's a tough time to get, man. Man, if I was a realtor, and this is a person, if I was just, if I was a realtor, man, I have all kind of investments. I got the game. Does it work like that? Is it an easier process to invest as a realtor? And do you have investments if you want to talk about it? Yeah. So one, what I'll say is that every single person does not specialize in investing. I think that that's a really, really big thing. Like I've come behind a lot of transactions, and I wondered to myself, why would this person even buy this as an investment? I've sold properties where people told me like I shouldn't have bought this as an investment, right? So ultimately, that's the first one. Like a lot, like when I first got into real estate, nobody would you would think, right? Like I want to ask this question: if an agent is brand new, would you think that they would start with investments or not? No. Okay, a lot of people and my normal brain would say, well, they probably would start with cheaper stuff, which is probably investment stuff. But you are very factual. Like it's a different ballgame. The numbers are calculated different. The way you price stuff is different. So ultimately, people normally don't get in knowing about repair value. They haven't seen inspection responses to know like what stuff pops up on the house and how much it costs to get fixed. So to answer your question, a lot of people just don't know the investing side because just because they're a realtor doesn't mean they truly know the investment side. They may just be really good at mind share and walking people in beautiful houses, but they may not, if they see a sheetrock touch up repair, they may not know how much that costs to know if that's a good home to buy that's priced lower than it should be. Ultimately, some people work on the buy side a lot. A lot of people on the buy side do not do CMAs, which is a comparative market analysis that tells the seller how much their house is. Yeah, it tells the seller how much their house, the suggested list price should be. And if you're working the buyer side, you don't really touch that as much on that side. So you really don't know the investment side as much as you should until you start working with investors or start in some way, shape, form, or fashion educating yourself on that side. But no, I can't agree. It's crazy, right? I've been in real estate 8 years. April will be 8 years, and my very first hands-on investment property was purchased August 1st this year. Okay. So it's really, yeah, it's really one of those things. And I think you have to find your niche. Like you have to find your lane. Like at first, if I would have bought, I'll say this, after going through my first investment property sales, the more actually, and if now knowing it, if I would have done that in my second year, it would have been a disaster. It would have been a disaster because ultimately I didn't really know how much stuff costs. I didn't really understand how to budget stuff. I didn't have enough free roam and cash at that time to really find the right resources and things of that nature to get done. So it's a lot of timing, man. And with being self-employed, that's a big one too. Because now you're dealing with taxes. You're not dealing with W-2. So now you got tax write-off. That means if you buying an investment property, you good on taxes. And we all know, that it's just, hey, that's just one of them things people don't think about. If they make $100,000, a lot of people don't think about an average of $30,000 a day going to the IRS. So now you have to present that to buy something or buy it cash, and that delays the process for a lot of people too.
So AI, artificial intelligence. Man, I've been studying a lot on artificial intelligence. I'm even taking courses right now on cybersecurity, going into because I don't want to get left behind.
Yeah.
Even I work in the field of psychology. You're in the field of real estate.
Yeah.
But I refuse to get left behind just to study. May not ever use it, but just to know what's going on. Where does AI fit into real estate in the future? Where do you see that? And will you utilize it?
Oh, I think anybody would have to be crazy if they say they wouldn't utilize it. I mean, I kind of follow the same thought that you have. I don't want to be left behind on it. So at the end of the day, I mean, people will use it. It's just a matter of when. We've done a lot of test trials with, I think it's 3 or 4 different companies we've been trying out for the last 6 to 9 months, and it's virtual, like not virtual, it's voice. So ultimately, they would be answering the phone, and kind of that script that you gave, it would have options, and it's something that you build out to go through it to actually have all the questions answered. Most of the time with those calls, man, you get to a point where you don't want people, in my opinion, I would want people to not know that it's AI. I would rather get to a point where people know, but their questions are being asked, they're answering questions, they feel like it's reliable, they're getting immediate responses, it's that sort of thing to where they get the benefit of it too. And I think to answer your question, I think we're probably a good bit away from people everywhere kind of responding to it, but I do feel like it's coming. I definitely feel like it's coming. Do I feel like it's next year or next year? Maybe not, but I think in small increments it'll happen. How do I see it impacting real estate? with response time, I feel like it'll impact it big. Meaning, I think a lot of people will use it how I'm using it. They'll use it for auto generated response messages. Those sorts of things. They'll continue to use Chat GPT. Everybody captures Chat GPT now. Like, hey, Chat, put it in my words or whatever. But at the end of the day, like everybody does it in that way. So I think that it's just one of those things where it'll grow. It'll grow over time, but I don't see it replacing the industry. I just think that it's just too much personable things that happen during the transaction of people like knowing a person from that area, interacting with a person from that area that'll make it very, very difficult to take over. But it'd be a great resource.
Have you been seeing? I know you have, because we talked about it, but for the camera, have you been seeing these companies? Can you tell us a little bit about these corporate companies coming in, buying all the real estate? I see this so much in Atlanta, man.
Yeah.
Buying real estate, single family homes, and putting them up for lease or rent.
Yeah.
What is that about?
So,
because when I see that, I'm like, that's taking away opportunities of ownership and so forth and so forth on.
So I'll say this: a lot of those companies that I've seen do that, it's been more of a situation where they're offering now, and I've seen it a lot in Georgia, like where they're offering like rent to own opportunities, and the way that it's being faced or the way that it's being said is that it's offering opportunities for people to have home ownership opportunity without needing all the qualifications or meeting the qualifications that a traditional Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan would require. So that's how I've seen it. I've actually had a few calls from people, that are licensed in those areas in Georgia that's kind of explained it more that way, to where they're saying that that's how it's been purposed, but they feel the same way you do, and as I do still feel like that's taken up, because what happens is everything is supply and demand. Yeah. So the more stuff as supply goes down, the demand goes higher. As the demand goes higher, that flips the whole real estate industry, and it causes a lot of stuff to happen, because now you have a lot of people being on top of a small amount of supply, and it does something. So I think, an area like Georgia, I can see why they're doing it, and I can see why someone else wouldn't like it they're doing. I think everything has a pro and a con for them. I mean, if you be honest, maybe they started off the same way we did, just maybe 100 years ago. So at the end of the day, all they're doing is what you just talked about. A realtor not purchasing real estate is the same as an entity that invests money and that holds capital, not going in and buying the best asset you could purchase in the world, real estate. So it kind of a flip of a quarter, but I definitely feel like that's a tough thing for people that are actively on the market and that's going through the process, and they're getting beat out on the offer by a company they can't even compete with. Yeah.
And you mentioned asset, real estate being an asset.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw it's not even a scenario, it's a real conversation we had with a mutual buddy of ours when we out one night. So this is his sentiment, but I know a lot of people have the same sentiment. His sentiment was he's out in Texas, he lives in an apartment. He said, man, I got a 2-bedroom. I'm paying, I think he said 1,500 something. He said, I go downstairs, I got my movie room, I go to the back, I have a pool. He said, I got my parking spot. Why do I need a house? What would you say to that?
Man, so look, it's a personal. I think it's a personal thing, man. Honestly, I'll be honest, it's the same as a person not wanting to invest in stock. It's the same person that would rather purchase liabilities. Kind of the YOLO spirit of you only live once, and I'm just gonna enjoy whatever my mind tells me to enjoy. I would say to a person to kind of look at the next 15 to 20 years. I think that's the biggest difference. And I don't have my phone where I actually do. But if we really pull out like how much somebody spends, yeah, man. Like when we got to look at the numbers, man. 1,500 times. I mean, if we do 12 times 15 years, right? That's 180 times 1,500. $270,000. So ultimately, we know we're working with a different territory in Texas than Louisiana, but ultimately 270, and we look at 15 years, every 10 over 10 years, meaning like year over year for 10 years, we always see an average of about 4% appreciation.
Okay.
4% appreciation. So ultimately, once again, y'all, and he might have to crop this, but I really want to show it. And I am using AI. So I'm letting y'all know I'm going to chat GPT, right? And I'm going to write chat. I'm going to say, what would be the home appreciation on a 300K home with 4% appreciation
over 10 years?
Yep, yearly over 15 years.
Brought out the numbers.
I'm just telling you, man. These are the conversations that I think we have to have, man. I think that's the big thing. So right now, and I'm gonna show it to you. Estimated home value
$540,000.
540. So if we look at $540,000 minus right $270,000, then we're looking at another $270,000.
Wow.
So I have learned that the person asking the questions is the person that's in control from reading. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, my question would be, what would be your appreciation making the same financial decisions that you're making right now on that rental home? What would be the appreciation over the next 15 years on that rental? And then I ask you questions again. Mm-hmm. Do you know the possible appreciation that it would be on purchasing a home? And then at that point, I ask a real question. Might be assholes to me, but being real, I'm gonna ask a real question like, which number is higher? Which one makes you wise, or which one makes you, not so wise? And most people don't want to say I'm not so wise after they answered everything else. So at the end of the day, it just comes down to the decision. That now, I'm not one to say that every single person should purchase, but at the end of the day, you should be investing in something. I'll say that I will respect all day, every day. Like, hey, I don't want to invest in that. I love, my quality time. My thing would be buy where you rent. If you love that space, and you don't have to have a certain house or something like that, but just invest in something. That's what I would say.
Last and final question. No, I'm lying. I have two. Just lying.
Yeah.
Where's the real estate market? It's December 2025. Where is the real estate market now? Where do you see it in 2026 on both sides, buyer, seller, for you? Where's the real estate market?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I mean, we look at numbers. Ultimately, we haven't shifted too much differently this year than last year. How we observe that is by month supply. What month supply is, it talks about like how much is somebody actually purchasing, folks are purchasing, versus how many homes are on the market. And when you divide those two numbers, you get month supply. So ultimately, when you're looking at like the numbers, right? If you're in between 5 and 7 months supply, then that's neutral, meaning the buyers don't have an advantage, sellers don't have an advantage. If you look at below 5, that means that ultimately there's not a lot of inventory, sellers have the advantage. If we're looking at 7 months of inventory, meaning it'll take 7 months for every single home to be sucked up at the rate that they're going under contract, then that means that, of course, like at that point, buyers have the advantage because homes are moving. Right, it's a lot of inventory. So if we go by that, then right now we're teeter-tottering on the neutral. But I would say on paper, once again, I'm a black and white person, we're in a seller's market, but we're very, 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 very close to the neutral market, meaning neither side has the advantage. But I will tell you, it feels like a buyer's market.
Okay.
It feels like a buyer, meaning buyers have the advantage. Okay. Like it feels like buyers do, because ultimately you got to remember we're coming out of COVID where houses sold really, really quick. A lot of things are happening like this. And just being that person, if we look at how the economy is moving right now, like from a global standpoint or from a country standpoint, it looks amazing. But when we truly look at it locally, I'll say for here, the conversations that I'm hearing and the things that I'm seeing, it doesn't correlate, right? So at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people, if they need to sell, they're gonna have to continue leaning towards the buyer because of grocery prices, gas prices, clothing, restaurant costs, like all of these things. We're starting to see a lot of those expenditures get diminished because of major stuff that people have to pay for. And if that continues to happen, the sellers are going to have to overtake the fact that interest rates haven't gone down and things haven't changed. So yeah, I would say we're in on paper a seller's market that feels like a buyer's market.
It may be neutral.
There we go. Maybe neutral in a second. 2026.
2026. Last and final question.
Yeah.
Man, you're growing every single year.
Appreciate that, man.
You get better. You getting your team stronger.
Yeah.
You started off as a buyer's agent. Now you're a team lead. You have your own team. S. Williams. So, what does growth look like for you? I'm not even going to give a number of years. I really don't believe it. Just what does growth look for you? What's next?
Man, I'll tell you, this is my favorite question. This is stuff I like to talk about. So ultimately, man, right now what it looks like is I set a pretty serious goal of flip properties next year on purchasing homes, purchasing them and having a certain turn time for them to actually be sold on that side, what you talked about, which was investing. From there, I'm taking that money and I'm splitting it between stocks, S&P 500, along with doing commercial investments. So my goal it's all about know thyself. I think right now with the real estate team, that's enough of hands-on business with like W-2 employees and like 1099 employees. So ultimately, I couldn't see myself like opening a daycare or opening something that's commercial. But what I can see is me taking that money from the flip properties in 2026 and actually purchasing an actual strip mall or something like that to allow other people the opportunity to run their businesses there, which kind of is a win-win. Like, yeah, right now with the team, nobody else want me to be their boss right now, man. So, and also for me, I think it'll be perfect with having that opportunity to, kind of give back and have a space for people to kind of live out their dreams in. So that's what it look like for me, man. More passive income. That's it, man. Social handles, brother. Oh yeah. Instagram is at realtor.steph. Facebook, we have S. Williams and Associates Inc. We also have realtor.steph on Facebook. And y'all, that's it. I don't really do Twitter. I don't do what it is, X and all. I'm old school, man. I only go on social media for the most part to work. So that's me being truthful. That's it. Appreciate it, bro. Oh yeah, brother. Always, man. I'm excited.